moment with the potential to shape the global economy for generations to come. After years of grinding negotiations spanning days, months, and governments, India and the European Union are finally set to seal what many are calling the mother of all deals. European Union Commission Chief Ursula von der Leyen will lead the European delegation to meet Prime Minister Narendra Modi today. And just hours after that meeting, the long-awaited India-EU Free Trade Agreement will be formally announced, along with a clutch of other strategic deals. The FTA is being billed as a game-changer for India-EU relations, coming at a time when both sides are fighting against Donald Trump's tariff tantrums. And this is no ordinary trade pact. Over 2 billion people will benefit, nearly 25% of global GDP involved, and an economic footprint unlike anything seen before. Key Indian export sectors like textiles, garments and gems are set to gain big, while India may offer major tariff concessions on high-end European cars. At present, luxury vehicles attract duties as steep as 110%. But sources suggest tariffs could be slashed to nearly 40% in the first phase, with the possibility of a further cut to just 10% in the near future. A historic deal, a strategic reset, and a new chapter in India-EU ties is set to unfold today. India Today Global's Pranay Upadhyay is now joining us with more details on this. Pranay, big announcements are likely to be made today as far as the India-EU trade deal is concerned. But help us understand, is this trade deal just about economics or also about geopolitics?
Good morning, Anjali. And indeed, it's a very important and significant day because after years of hard work, and negotiations, finally the India-EU FTA, free trade agreement, will be announced today after the 16th India-EU summit, which will be chaired by the European leaders, Ursula von der Leyen and Antonio Costa, and from the Indian side, Prime Minister Narendra Modi would be chairing this India-EU summit. This includes why it is called as mother of all deals, because it involves the over 2 billion people, over $25 trillion of economy, 27 European Union countries and India will be, slashing the tariff barriers. In all likelihood, the tariff barriers will be reduced on over 90% of traded goods. And this will encompass both goods, services, investment, and besides that, a strategic partnership agreement is also likely to be announced, today after this summit. And as Ursula von der Leyen, the President of the European Commission, said, successful India makes the world more stable, prosperous, and secure. And these words clearly signify that why Europe is now turning towards India. Post-COVID, we have seen that how European Union as a bloc is now talking about China plus one. They are trying to diversify their logistics, their supply dependence, and in fact, India has come up as a very reliable partner for the European Union and a big market. So this deal is going to benefit both India and European Union in terms of their increasing their trade and investment and forging a more strategic partnership. And since you mentioned about the aspect of the geopolitics, definitely Europe is also looking at diversifying their sources, their market reliance, and their the areas where they can trade. And India can be a more reliable and a stable partner and a growing economy. And both European Union and India are facing the tariff raised by President Donald Trump and his administration. And in fact, India is also looking at diversifying the export markets, and Europe is indeed a big partner for India. And as far as this trade deal is concerned, this is going to reset and reshape the geopolitics in many terms.
Absolutely, Pranay, and all eyes now remain on the announcements that are to be made today. Thank you so much for all those details. In fact, we'll keep coming back to you for more updates on this big story that we're tracking today. And let's take a look at the takeaways of this trade deal between India and the European Union that has concluded. The announcements are to be made today. 18 years of talks have finally ended, and negotiations that began in 2007 are now officially concluded. Remember, the negotiations began in 2007 and they are concluded in 2026, and this is one of India's longest and toughest trade negotiations ever. Duty-free or low duty access for 90% plus goods is what has been decided. Both sides will cut or eliminate tariffs on over 90% of traded goods, making exports cheaper and also more competitive. Now, it's also a big boost for India's labor-intensive sectors, as Indian sectors that struggle due to high European Union duties, which is around 10%, which includes textiles, garments, leather, footwear, gems and jewelry, chemicals, machinery. These sectors will get major relief and price advantage in Europe. Now, EU also gains access to India's high tariff markets. Remember, India's steep duties on automobiles, 35.5%, plastics, chemicals, pharmaceutical, machinery will also get reduced, which is a big win for the European manufacturers. Now, services trade opens up the free trade agreement, and global trade diversifies away from US and China. That's also an important point, as there will be trade diversification away from the United States and China, which with the US imposing 50% tariffs, and global trade is also getting disrupted due to this tariff tantrum by the United States. Now, US-India trade and investment is also set to multiply because of this trade deal. European Union is India's largest goods trading partner, and current goods trade stands at $136.5 billion, services trade at $83 billion, and this deal deepens an already massive relationship and is also expected to multiply trade and investments between India and the European Union.